My sister-in-law stole the names of all my miscarried babies and used them for her kids, then poisoned my prenatal vitamins to cause another miscarriage. She actually thinks I am not going to ruin her life right now. What is the sweetest revenge you've ever tasted? Raw, dogging my enemy's brother. For years I was infertile, but not just any infertile. I was the false hope. Infertile, you see, I had had 3 miscarriages, all in the second trimester. Luckily, everyone was really supportive, except for my sister-in-law. That is, because the first time I cried in her lap, she stroked my hair and told me she would always be there for me. She told me that when my niece, her baby was born, I would be her godmother. I even started to consider her as one of my closest friends. Fast forward 2 weeks later to her baby shower. That is where she announced her baby's name. As soon as she said it, bile rose in my throat. It was Faye, the exact same name as my unborn daughter. Well, it is not like you were going to use it, was all she said when I confronted her, all while squealing like a pig being lit on fire. Her words felt like daggers. When my husband came over to ask what was going on, I told him, but instead of getting mad, he just laughed. Well, men can be pretty clueless sometimes, so I waited until we were in the car ride home to re-explain the situation, and my husband was the love of my life, but he was also passive due to growing up as the scapegoat of their family, the type to get robbed on the street and apologize for not having more money to give. That is just how she is, honey, he said with a sigh, so I told myself that at least my unborn daughter's name could live on in someone else's baby, and focused on increasing my fertility by being a healthy Pilates princess, but it never worked. A year and a half later, another baby died in my womb. A few weeks later, I was standing in an aisle of Walgreens when I saw it. My sister-in-law had made a post to commemorate her second son. The caption read, "Welcome baby James. Thanks to Emma, my name, for the name inspiration. Her loss is my gain." This was then followed by the pregnant emoji and the skull emoji. By the time she stole my third miscarriage's name, Charlotte, I was numb. She would send me nursery photos with captions like, "Bet you wish this could be for your Charlotte." My husband still defended her, saying she was being too sensitive about just names and photography. After 4 years I stopped hoping for a child. Sarah was pregnant with her 4th child and made jokes at family dinners about which name she should steal next. Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. That night, something in me snapped. If she wanted another name, I'd give her one. She'd never forget. I waited until the next family gathering and broke down in tears. I told Sarah privately that I had discovered something incredible in my late mother's diary, a secret middle name she never told anyone, Lexativa. I said it meant sacred child in an ancient dialect. I even created fake diary pages and showed her a Pinterest board about honoring deceased grandparents through baby names. Sarah took the name and ran. She announced everywhere that she was naming her daughter Lexativa Rose to honor our family's hidden history. And this revenge plan was good enough for me, until 8 months later, when the universe threw me a curveball. I was pregnant, like 3rd trimester pregnant. I almost cried with joy. No more memorials, no more wondering whether there was something deeply wrong with me. Me and my husband had been waiting to announce it, not wanting to get our hopes up, and that same week, we got the text. It was Sarah inviting us to her baby shower. I wore a flowy dress that hid everything. My husband supported my decision, not giving an F anymore. Sarah had gone all out for this shower, bigger than any before. The whole family was there, plus her mommy blog followers who, deep in following baby Lexativa's journey for months. Sarah was in the middle of giving her speech about discovering this sacred family name when I stood up. Actually, Sarah, I have something to share too, I said, smoothing my dress over my now obvious bump. The room went dead, silent. Sarah's mouth hung open mid-sentence. My mother-in-law dropped her champagne glass. 29 weeks today, I announced, cradling my belly. We wanted to be sure this time. The room erupted in screams and congratulations. Sarah's face drained of color. That is when my husband, the saint of the family, stood up and raised his hand. Sarah, you were saying something about Lexativa, about all that research you did. Sarah's face had gone from white to red. Yes, it is. It means sacred child in ancient. That is so weird, he interrupted, pulling out his phone, because when I Google Lexativa, all I get are medical websites about constipation relief. I had to hold my nose just to stop myself from laughing. The rest of the room was silent. I grabbed my husband's hand and walked out. It was a proud moment for all 3 of us, but I was fast asleep at 4 a.m. when I felt a sharp pain in my stomach, one I had felt 3 times before. Me and my husband rushed to the hospital, but I already knew the truth. It was a miscarriage. Turns out one of my nighttime prenatal gummies had been swapped for something that was fatal to my baby. I instantly knew Sarah was behind it. I couldn't sleep for days after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Sarah's smug face at that baby shower. The police said they couldn't prove anything about the vitamins. The bottle had mysteriously disappeared from our bathroom, and the hospital couldn't detect what specific substance had caused the miscarriage. My husband finally stopped defending his sister. He sat on our bed, holding the empty vitamin bottle we'd found hidden in our trash can outside. His hands shook as he turned it over and over. Sarah had been in our house just 2 days before it happened, claiming she wanted to help organize the nursery. I started documenting everything. Every text, every social media post, every cruel comment Sarah had made over the years. My laptop became my constant companion as I pieced together a pattern I deep been too hurt to see before. 3 weeks after losing our baby, I discovered something that made my blood run cold. Sarah's best friend Catherine worked at the pharmacy where I filled all my prescriptions. I remembered seeing them giggling together at family gatherings. Catherine always asking intrusive questions about my fertility treatments. I drove to the pharmacy during Catherine's shift. She saw me coming and tried to duck into the back room, but I cornered her near the vitamin aisle. Her face went white when I mentioned the prenatal vitamins. "I don't know what you are talking about," she stammered, but her hands trembled as she straightened bottles on the shelf. That evening, Sarah posted on her mommy blog about toxic family members who make false accusations. Within hours her followers were flooding my social media with hateful messages. My phone buzzed non-stop with notifications calling me jealous, delusional, attention-seeking. My husband deleted his social media accounts after his own sister's followers started attacking him too. We sat in our living room, curtains drawn, feeling like we were under siege. He kept apologizing for not believing me sooner. For all the years he let Sarah's behavior slide. The next family dinner was at Sarah's house. We almost didn't go, but my mother-in-law called my husband crying, begging us not to let this silly misunderstanding tear the family apart. Against my better judgment, we went. Sarah had strategically placed baby Lexitiva, Spicenitrite in the center of the dining room. Every time I looked up from my plate, I saw that name embroidered on the blanket. Sarah kept making comments about how some people could vandal other people's happiness. During dinner Sarah excused herself to feed the baby. Her laptop sat open on the kitchen counter, screen still glowing. I don't know what possessed me, but I found myself walking toward it, pretending to get more water. The browser was open to her email. My heart pounded as I saw subject lines about fertility herbs and natural miscarriage remedies. I quickly pulled out my phone, hands shaking as I took photo after photo of the screen. "What are you doing, Sarah's voice cut through the air like a knife. I spun around, phone still in my hand. She lunged for it, but I pulled back. We struggled in her kitchen, her nails digging into my wrist as she tried to grab my phone. "Give it to me," she hissed, but I held tight. My husband heard the commotion and rushed in. For the first time in his life, he saw his sister's mask completely off. Her face was torn, twisted with rage, nothing like the sweet persona she usually wore. "She is trying to steal my phone." Sarah quickly switched tactics, tears suddenly appearing. "She has gone crazy, just like I told you all." But my husband had already seen the scratches on my wrist, the wild look in his sister's eyes. He stepped between us, and for once he didn't take her side. "We leaving," he said quietly, taking my hand. Sarah's tears dried instantly. "Fine, run away like always, but everyone's going to know the truth about her." We drove home in silence, my wrist throbbing where she scratched me. I showed my husband the photos I managed to take. His face grew paler with each image. The next morning, Sarah's mommy blog featured a long post about dealing with mentally unstable family members. She claimed I'd attacked her in her own home, that I'd been faking my pregnancies for attention all along. She even posted a photo of herself with a small bruise on her arm, though I'd never touched her. Her followers ate it up. Comments poured in about how strong she was, how terrible it must be to have such a toxic sister-in-law. Some even started a hashtag, "Justice for Sarah." My mother-in-law called within hours. "You need to apologize," she said, not even asking for my side of the story. "This has gone too far." Sarah's considering filing a restraining order. "She poisoned my baby." I couldn't help but shout, "Dawn, be ridiculous." My mother-in-law snapped. "Sarah would never do something like that. You are clearly having some kind of breakdown. Maybe you should get help." My husband took the phone from me. "Mom, you didn't see what happened. Sarah attacked Emma, not the other way around." "Oh please, please," his mother scoffed. "You always take her side now." Sarah sent me the security footage from her kitchen. It clearly shows Emma snooping through her personal computer. My heart sank. Of course Sarah had edited the footage to exclude our struggle, to make me look like the aggressor. My husband argued with his mother for a few more minutes before hanging up in frustration. Over the next few days, the situation escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. Sarah filed a report with Child Protective Services, claiming I was mentally unstable and shouldn't be allowed to adopt children. She discovered we started the adoption process months ago, before our last pregnancy. The social worker who came to our house was professional, but clearly influenced by the concerns that had been raised. Apparently Sarah's mommy blog followers had been calling the adoption agency, sending emails about my dangerous behavior. We've received over 50 complaints, the social worker explained, flipping through her folder. "While we have to investigate all claims, I want you to know that organized campaigns like this usually indicate someone has an agenda." We provided character references, medical records showing me mental health was fine, everything we could think of, but the damage was done. The adoption agency put our application on hold pending the investigation. I sobbed in my husband's arms that night. Sarah hadn't just stolen my baby's names, she was trying to steal any chance I had at motherhood. The next morning brought fresh hell. Sarah had posted screenshots of my snooping on her laptop, conveniently cropping out everything that showed her research into miscarriage-inducing herbs. Her followers were calling me a criminal, demanding I be arrested for invasion of privacy. My husband and I sat at our kitchen table, surrounded by printed emails from the adoption agency. Each one detailed another concerned citizen, who contacted them about my supposed mental instability. The language was eerily similar across dozens of messages, clearly coordinated. Catherine called me that afternoon. Her voice shook as she whispered into the phone, "Meet me at the park on Elm Street. Come alone, I need to tell you something." My husband wanted to come with me, but I knew Catherine would bolt if she saw him. I found her sitting on a bench near the playground, nervously watching mothers push their children on swings. "I can't do this anymore," she said as soon as I sat down. "Sarah's gone too far. The vitamins, she made me switch them, said it was just harmless herbs to help with your anxiety." My hands clenched into fists. "You knew what they were." Catherine's eyes filled with tears. She had dirt on me. "I've been skimming pills from the pharmacy, just anxiety meds for myself, nothing serious, but she found out somehow and threatened to report me unless I helped her." I pulled out my phone to record, but Catherine grabbed my wrist. "No recordings. I'll deny everything if you try to use this against me. I wanted you to know I am sorry and to warn you, she is not done." "What do you mean she is not done?" Catherine glanced around nervously. "She has been stealing your mail. Has copies of all your adoption paperwork. She knows which agency you are using, who your caseworker is, everything." My blood ran cold. We'd been wondering why some of our mail seemed to go missing. Catherine stood to leave, but I grabbed her arm. "You have to tell someone. The police, the adoption agency, anyone." She yanked away from me. "I can't lose my job. I have kids too." She hurried away, leaving me alone on the bench. That evening, my husband installed security cameras around our house. We changed all our locks and had our mail forwarded to a post office box. It felt like we were preparing for war. Sarah's next move came at Thanksgiving dinner. The whole family gathered at my mother-in-law's house, tension thick enough to cut with a knife. Sarah arrived late, making a grand entrance with all 4 of her children dressed in matching outfits. During dinner, she kept making pointed comments about people who can't let go of therapist and the importance of mental health treatment. My husband's jaw clenched tighter with each jab, but he stayed silent. Then, as we were clearing dessert plates, Sarah stood up and clinked her wine glass. "I have an announcement." The room fell silent. Sarah's hand moved to her stomach in that familiar gesture I'd made so many times before. "We re-expecting again, and I've already chosen the perfect name." My mother-in-law gasped with delight. "Oh, Sarah, how wonderful." "Yes," Sarah continued, her eyes locked on mine. "If it is a girl, we renaming her Margaret, after Emma's dear departed mother." The room spun. My mother had died just 6 months ago, her name the last sacred thing I had left. I stood so quickly my chair toppled backward. "You wouldn't dare," I whispered. Sarah's smile was pure venom. "Why not? It is such a beautiful name, and someone should use it since you clearly can." My husband was on his feet now too. "That is enough. Sarah, you crossed every line." "Have I?" Sarah's voice rose to a shriek. "She is the one who broke into my computer. She is the one spreading lies about me. I am just trying to honor family traditions by stealing the names of dead babies." My husband's voice was deadly quiet. The room erupted. My father-in-law started shouting about keeping the peace. Sarah's husband looked confused, asking what was really going on. The children started crying. In the chaos, Sarah grabbed her phone and started live streaming to her mommy blog followers. "You can see how I am being attacked in my own family," she said to the camera, "all because I want to honor me sister-in-law's mother." My husband grabbed my hand. We were leaving. As we headed for the door, Sarah called out, "Oh, Emma, you might want to check with the adoption agency. I heard they received some very interesting information about your mental health history." We drove home in silence, both of us too angry to speak. When we got home, there was a message on our answering machine from our adoption caseworker, asking us to call urgently. My hands shook as I dialed the number. The caseworker's voice was careful and neutral as she explained that they'd received documentation, suggesting I'd been hospitalized for psychiatric issues multiple times. "That is not true," I said, my voice breaking. "I've never been hospitalized for anything except my miscarriages." "I understand," she said, "but we need to investigate these claims. Can you provide your complete medical history?" After I hung up, my husband found me sobbing on our bedroom floor. He held me as I cried, whispering promises that we'd fight this, that Sarah would win. The next day, we went to the hospital to request my medical records. The administrator pulled up my file, then frowned. "This is strange. There are entries here I don't recognize." My heart sank as she showed us the screen. Someone had added fake psychiatric admissions to my electronic records, complete with diagnosis of delusional disorder and pathological lying. "This is fraud," the administrator said. "We'll need to investigate how someone accessed our system." It took 2 weeks to get the fake entries removed and documented as fraudulent. During that time, Sarah escalated her campaign. She created fake stories, social media accounts in my name, posting unhinged rants about wanting to steal other people's babies. She sent anonymous tips to my employer about my mental instability. My husband started recording everything. He bought a small camera he wore on his shirt, documenting every interaction with his family. His mother called him paranoid, but he didn't care anymore. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Sarah's eldest daughter, Faye, now 8 years old, called our house one evening when her parents were out. "Aunt Emma," her small voice said, "I need to tell you something."